Welcome back to another quick review. I am back at home for Thanksgiving break, so it allows me to knock out a whole bunch of stuff that I have been meaning to get through. Speaking of which, let's talk about Metaphor ReFantazio. Um, this game is great. Not to say that I don't have my issues with it, because I do, but just get it out of the way. This game is great. It's phenomenal. Top five of the year, at least at the moment, for sure. Um, I think my everything that has like everything that I want to talk about with this game has to do with one thing and one thing only. We can kind of branch out from there, but like it's like one thing, and that's the story. Um, I'm gonna be completely honest with you when I say this. I've seen a variety of people say, Metaphor has like the best narrative of any game this year, one of the greatest video game stories ever told, and whatnot. And say it's like a lock to win, best narrative at the Game Awards and whatnot, right? Personally, I disagree. Um, just on a like personal preference, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that 60% of the story didn't really do anything for me. I think it's definitely like a case of um, it's been done before, and the funny part is that it's been done before, but I actually off the top of my head can't really think of the example of think of the example of that. But like it's nothing new, but at the same time, it's really good at what it does. Or at least the main point of the story. It's nothing new, but it's really good at what it does. That being said, 60% of the story doesn't really do much for me. Um, Once I got to Atterbury and everything at Atterbury went down, then yeah, that's when the story started kicking in. I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. But the problem is that not everybody is gonna sit through a JRPG for this long, hoping for it to resonate with them or start to kick in and get really good. Right? I have a whole bunch of patience. I've played all 13 Trails games. Like I have a whole bunch of patience for this stuff, but not everybody will. And I think that's kind of a thing that I wasn't a big fan of. I was at like the 45, 50 hour mark, and that's when things started to get like really good, right? Um, it is so unfortunate because I think the game is perfect outside of that. Like a lot of the game's story hinges on its world building, and I think that's really good. I think that's a good thing. Like there's a lot of world building, a lot of background exposition, things that you need to take into account, and I love that. I think that's great. However, um, I feel like the story should even should be able to stand on its own and have the background and world building stuff add into it, just make it better. But I feel like we need a standalone, like a story that is able to stand on its own and is really good with not to say without all of that stuff, but like the world building should enhance the story, not the story. I I don't know what I'm trying to say. The world building should enhance the story, more it has the story. I think the world building, like I said, on its own is really good, but the story itself, like 60% of it, I'm not the biggest fan of. Um, I think, and then like, even moving past the story, I think a lot of the characters are really good. These are some of our best, like even the social links and confidants and whatnot. Some of our best confidants in an Atlas game in some time. I love most of the characters. I think Hulkenberg falls a bit flat, especially towards like the second half of the game, because her character is a bit one note. Like we don't ever get to explore her background or at least more of her background with her family and House Hulkenberg with the amount of times that they're brought up. Like a lot of it just kind of gets Hulkenberg's kind of simplified to I love weird food and I am a simp for the prince. And there are some other things in here and there, like her sense of honor and being a knight and whatnot. This like this entire what her the entirety of her social link is about. But even then, I feel like it's kind of it's a bit one note in a sense, if you get what I mean. So yeah, Hulkenberg didn't really impress me all that much, but all the other characters, I really enjoyed, especially spoilers for a second, especially characters like Basilio and Juna, some of my favorites in the game. phenomenal. Even Alonso, like outside of playable party members, even Alonso, I wish he kind of stayed dead towards the end of his social link. I think that would have been a new spin on some on social links that I can't. Oh no, that's not true. I was gonna say we haven't seen it before, but that's just not true. But like a spin that is like relatively different than what the most social links are. Maria is just Nanako 2.0, and I love that. That's all that really needs to be said. Yeah, I think a lot of this game just boils down to everything is really good. World building is really good. Combat's really good. It's a bit more simple than Persona, but the Persona SMT, but at the same time, it's a bit more complicated, and I like playing around with that. Granted, I don't think I prefer it to those combat systems. I think Metaphor's combat systems, while really free, could also feel a tad bit limiting in a sense. Um, yeah, I think the combat system is even like not comparing it to Persona, SMT, and whatnot. Just on its own has a really good combat system. The music is really good. I wish I don't think it the music didn't impress me as much as a lot of other games that I've played this year, especially. But among Atlas games, but the music is still really really good. And I like the fact that they touched up on that it's not afraid to hold punches in regards to the political aspect of the world. That it's not afraid to dive into stuff that plagues our world now. It dives into things that people that not everybody but a lot of people have to deal with. I like that it does that, and I like that it puts an emphasis on how stories and fantasy and imagination and all that is key to society, to the human mind. I love that aspect of the game. I think that was one of my favorite parts, and that's what kind of elevated this game a whole bunch to me. Last thing I want to say is about the artwork and the art style. This game is like weird, and weird with that. And I think the best way to put it is like the Trails through. It's like the best way I could compare it is like Trails through Daybreak 1 and Daybreak 2, where in this game at least the art style for the entire thing is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal art style. It's one of the most visually appealing games I've looked at in some time. It's like really good. It's really nice to look at. My only issue is the character models, right? Um, this is like the most nitpicky thing out of anything that I've said, and we can kind of skip over it because it didn't really affect my enjoyment of the game. But like with Trails to Daybreak, right? My issue with that game's artwork is that the the actual character art doesn't look as good as the character models. I'm not sure how to explain that, but the character artwork looks kind of weird compared to the character models. Now, not to say that the artwork is bad. Anami's art is phenomenal, especially going into Kaino Kiseki. Anami's art is phenomenal in that game, and I love it. But it just kind of looks off compared to some of the character models in that game. Whereas Metaphor is the exact opposite, where the artwork looks phenomenal. The artworks looks outstanding, but I feel it doesn't really translate into the engine or the style that they were going for in the engine the greatest. And some of the character arts look kind of off. Like for example, I love the main protagonist. I named him Will because that was the canon name. I was pretty sure. The main protagonist looks phenomenal in this image. I love the outfit in this image, but in game it kind of looks it throws me off. Like even the artwork the portrait artwork that they use looks really good, but you actually see the model and it just kind of throws me off a bit. It's just a bit weird. I'll leave that at that. Anyways, this quick review is getting very very long. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another quick review soon. Lord knows when, but soon. I still just give this game like a 9.5 out of 10. It's still really good despite my issues. Like I said, positives just kind of outweigh the negatives in every way, shape, or form. That's last 40% of the game is outstanding. And yeah, thank you for watching. See ya. Bye.